Today we are going to start with talking the different network topologies. So topology is nothing but the structure of how a network is defined. So it is just like how you would see the network, whether it is physical or logical. But it is important because based on how the devices are connected within the network, your communication would take place. So I think I did show you this picture where there are different types of topologies. So one is your bus topology, ring topology. You have something like a star topology, extended star topology, hierarchy topology, and mesh topology. So in real time, you will either have this or a combination of these. Like you can have a star topology, and one node of the star is actually a ring topology, something like that. But in these days, you generally see a star topology, extended star, hierarchical, or a mesh topology. So what are these and how or what exactly does this mean and how does this function? We'll be talking about that now. Okay. So bus topology is nothing but imagine these nodes as your end devices. End devices in the sense either network, either laptops or computers or mobile device or whatever that is connected to the network, and there is a wired connection. So there is a single wired connection that is connecting all the different types of devices, right? So let's assume that there is a uh, at one point there is a breakage. Let's say at if you can see my mouse cursor, let's say after device 2 there is a cut in the wire. So then what happens? The network is lost. So that would be the disadvantage. But it is one good thing about this is all the hosts are directly connected to each other, so there is nobody in between. So again, that is a good and bad thing. But if they are connected by a single backbone cable and is terminated at both the ends, then that is called as a bus topology. That means if the connections are made in this way, you might get to a question that why the devices needs to be connected in this way, but we'll talk about that shortly. Okay. So then there is something called as a ring topology. Okay. Hopefully no questions. Yeah. So then there is something called as a ring topology. Ring topology in the sense there is this whole particular device that is connected on both the ends. So one end you have one device and the other end you have another device. Right? So we'll be creating these very shortly in about 5 or 6 minutes or maybe 10 minutes from now, and we'll be discussing and seeing how does this happen. But for now, just try to understand that it will look like a physical ring. Now, what happens in this case as well? Let's say if device A wants to communicate to device F, and there is B, C, D, E in between A and F, and if any one of the device fails, then basically you will be losing your network connection. So that would be one of the disadvantages, right? When there is something called as a star topology, that means in center you have a device that is managing all the multiple devices. So that becomes a star topology. Now the advantage is you are having all the connections from a single endpoint, but the disadvantage is if this main point of contact fails, then everything fails. And then there is something called as extended star topology. So extended star topology is nothing but whatever you have seen in the star, like I did mention, if one of the endpoints here is again different star, so that means nothing but your extended star topology, right? Extended star topology links individual stars together by connecting hubs or switches. Okay, and then there is something called as a mesh topology. So mesh in the sense it is not connected directly, but every host is connected to all other hosts. If you read this line here carefully, it says each host has its own connection to all other hosts. That means they're not dependent on anybody. So it is good, but it is also complicated because you need number of ports and other stuff. Right. So we'll see how do we create this topologies. So to download Cisco Packet Tracer, you can go to this website. This is the official website from Cisco. Cisco is a networking organization. It has a lots of real-time switches and routers, basically all the devices that you need inside a network. And they also offer a course where they teach you or make you understand how these networks work. You can simulate a network. So basically, this is a network simulator. When I talk about Cisco Packet Tracer, it is a network simulator. Right. So we are going to use this tool in order to simulate a small network. So in order to download this particular tool, you can just visit this website. I've shared this in your chat here, and you can just go to this website. It will ask you to log in. You can just log in via your Gmail. It should be fine. And then click on download Cisco Packet Tracer. Once you ask it to download, it might ask you what kind of operating system you're using. So whether it is Mac, Ubuntu, or Windows, you can select whatever you want to, and then you can just click on download. So it would basically download an exe file or a Debian file or DMG file based on whatever operating system you're using. Once done, it's pretty straightforward. Next, finish, and it should be able, and you should be able to install the Cisco Packet Tracer, right? So I hope that my screen is visible. And once you yeah, so once you log into your Cisco account, whether it could be a free email address or whatever, then your like the Cisco Packet Tracer's interface would look something like this. So let me give you a very short walkthrough. You see over here, it says real time and simulate. So we'll be seeing that very shortly. Here in the bottom left, you have the network devices or end device, what you want. So let's say I want a network device. If I select that, you can see in the below line that there are routers, switches, hubs, wireless devices, security devices or whatever you want. And then in end devices, you have a PC, you want a home, you want to do it for a LAN, man, whatever. And then you see over in the right side here, it says PC, laptop, server, printer, IP phone, TV, tablet, whatever you want. And then here you have some components you can add or delete any components you want. So what it is, we'll be just seeing very shortly. Again, connection type. So what kind of connection it is? If it is a wired connection, so then there are different types of cables, whether it is a copper cable, where see, if I just point it out on the cable here, it says copper straight through, right? So that means this is a copper cable. Similarly, you have fiber optic cable, copper crossover cable, and others. But if you're not sure what cable to use for your device, you can just select uh, automatically choose connection type. So this will basically help you simulate or create a network. So what do we mean by that? Let's try to go and see.